Hi folks, this is Jason, certified financial planner and host of Fighting Words Financial. Today I wanted to talk to you about a few advantages of the Roth IRA. I get a lot of questions on how the Roth IRA works. I did a video on it a long time ago when I first started my channel. That one's been pretty popular, and I wanted to follow it up with a video on 5 advantages for the Roth IRA. Most of these should apply to most of you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The number one reason to invest or make contributions to a Roth IRA is that you're going to get tax-free income in retirement. With Roth IRAs, you can turn your withdrawals in retirement into a tax-free stream of income. It's not just the contributions that you make to the Roth IRA that come out tax-free. The IRS does not tax any of the earnings that accumulate over the years either. That can make for a pretty substantial amount of tax-free withdrawals when you're talking about decades of compounding. There's a catch, of course. I mean, there's always a catch, right? The catch is that you pay income tax on your contributions up front. Unlike the traditional IRA, which gives you a tax deduction for the year the contribution is made, the Roth IRA lets investors contribute after-tax money today, just like you might have in your regular WEBULL or Robinhood brokerage account. But in the Roth IRA, as long as the funds aren't withdrawn until after age 59 and a half, the principal and all of the earnings come out tax-free. Even if you've already made a contribution to your IRA or 401k, you may still want to consider contributing to a Roth IRA. Some folks might be looking for tax diversification in retirement, and the Roth IRA is one of the few vehicles that will allow you to use stocks and ETFs in a way that ensures that you have a tax-free stream of income in retirement. While it certainly isn't recommended because this is an account that's earmarked for retirement, in an emergency, a Roth IRA can be used to access some quick cash. That's because your Roth contributions can be withdrawn penalty-free at any time. To take out more than just contributions without a penalty, investors must be 59 and a half years old and the account must have been open for 5 years. But there are some exceptions to those rules. There are some qualified withdrawals that can be made early if you don't meet age or holding period requirements. One of them is for a first-time home purchase. You can make a withdrawal penalty-free of up to $10,000. Another is for post-secondary expenses. There are some other circumstances outlined in IRS regulations as well. You can make penalty-free withdrawals in the case of permanent disability, unreimbursed medical expenses that exceed 10% of adjusted gross income, to pay back taxes, or paying health insurance premiums while unemployed. Number 3, you can contribute to a Roth IRA after age 72, which makes it a pretty powerful estate planning or inheritance planning tool. The Roth IRA has no required minimum distributions after age 72 like your traditional IRA or your 401k does. So long as you continue to have earned income, you can keep adding to your Roth IRA regardless of your age. If you don't need the Roth funds in retirement and plan to leave them to heirs, savers can leave their beneficiaries tax-free income that can actually be stretched out over their entire lives. Basically, a Roth IRA allows you to prepay taxes for a future generation, possibly giving them a leg up in life. It's an extraordinarily powerful estate planning tool. You can have your grandchildren receive a tax-free stream of income for the rest of their lives. The trade-off is that you pay taxes now on the contribution, but if you anticipate leaving money to kids or grandkids, forgoing the tax break today can give your gift a pretty big boost in the future. Number 4, despite what you may have heard, high earners also have a way to benefit from the Roth IRA with something called the Backdoor Roth IRA contribution. High income earners generally cannot make a direct contribution to a Roth IRA. The IRS has income thresholds that limit the size of contributions that high earners can make, and above that threshold, direct contributions to a Roth IRA just aren't allowed. But there is a loophole. This particular loophole has been around since 2006, and it's one that most financial planners use on an annual basis with their higher earning clients. Here's how it works. People who make a lot of money can make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA one day and then simply convert it to a Roth IRA the very next day. This is an option that's not just available to high income earners. There are a few reasons why you might not be able to deduct a contribution to a traditional IRA, even if you aren't a high earner, but everyone has the option to make a non-deductible IRA contribution and then convert it directly to a Roth. You should, however, take into consideration all of your pre-tax holdings and your income from other sources when trying to figure out the tax liability for a conversion. Because it's complicated, I think that it's best for you to consult a financial planner or a tax professional before you start converting your traditional IRA to a Roth. Number 5, For most folks, the Roth really is going to be the best long-term investment option. For many people who are looking for tax relief today, making a contribution to a traditional IRA offers a tax deduction that you won't get with Roth contributions. If your tax burden is really high today and you expect it to be much lower in retirement, then maybe you do want to use that regular traditional IRA or 401k. But just looking at that tax break you get today on your $6,000 contribution sometimes leaves many of the valuable benefits of the Roth on the table. If you're eligible to make a contribution, the Roth IRA over time is going to deliver a greater benefit than the traditional IRA for most people in retirement. Now, if you're young and you're confident that you're going to be earning more and you're going to be in a higher tax bracket in the future, the Roth IRA really is a good choice. But even if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, you might want to take a closer look at the Roth IRA. Why? Because tax brackets, even when you're retired, they're not structured to benefit you as the retiree. They're designed to benefit the IRS. Even if you end up in a lower tax bracket in retirement, your withdrawals from your traditional IRA or 401k could potentially kick you into a higher tax bracket. Especially once you're older than age 72, you have to take out required minimum distributions and you no longer have control over how little you take out. Now, many folks think that they won't be worried about taxes in retirement, but I can assure you from long experience as a financial planner that most people do, and here's why. Traditional IRA and 401k withdrawals will raise your tax bill. All of that money that you take out of those accounts is taxable, and that may include potential additional taxes on Social Security benefits if your income passes certain thresholds, and it may actually reduce your disposable income. Higher taxable income could also increase the cost of your Medicare Part B premiums in retirement. So giving up the tax deduction now might be well worth having a tax-free source of withdrawals later on. Now, as I stated before, each financial situation really is unique and personal. Talk to your personal financial planner about whether or not a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA might be more appropriate for you based on your needs, not just today, but in the future. Anyway, folks, these are just my thoughts on 5 advantages of the Roth IRA. Feel free to let me know how wrong you think I am in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you.